Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to discuss about the Parliamentary Financial Committees. So, Parliamentary Financial Committee is not only important for the public administration students, it's also important for the competitive exams like PSC, UPSC, etc. So, today we are going to discuss about the Parliamentary Financial Committees. So, parliamentary committees can be divided into two, that is standing committees and ad hoc committees. Today we are going to discuss about the parliamentary financial committee. So here I am going to discuss about the standing committee. So standing committees, in standing committees there are a lot of committees, and that is first one is financial committees, and the second one is departmental standing, third one is committee to inquire, and fourth one is committees to scrutinize and control. Fifth one is committees relating to the day-to-day business of the house, and the sixth one and the final one is housekeeping committees or service committees. These all are the committees that included in a standing committees. So financial committee, parliamentary financial committee is also included in the standing committees. So, financial committees, parliamentary financial committees can be divided into three. That is public accounts committee, second one is estimates committee, and third one is committees on public undertaking. These are the three financial parliamentary financial committees. So let's discuss about the public accounts committee. So this committee was set up first in the 1921, and it's mainly under the provisions of the Government of India Act of 1919. So it's came up the act of it came up in 1921, and in public accounts committee there are 22 members, 15 from Lok Sabha and 17 from Rajya Sabha. That is the members that consisted in a public accounts committee. Actually this video is completely based upon the competitive exam. So if you are attending or if you are studying for a competitive exams like PSC, UPSC, you can refer it from this. So it is so defined one. So public accounts committee consists 22 members, that is 15 from Lok Sabha, note down 15 from Lok Sabha and 17 from Rajya Sabha. Total member of the public accounts committee is 22. That's an important one. And public accounts committee's chairman was selected invariably from the opposition, because we know that the opposition party also have the right to right in the parliament. So here the public accounts committee's chairman was selected invariably from the opposition. That's an important point that should be noted down. And mainly these public account committee have some functions to do with or it has some functions related to the finance. So the functions of a public accounts committee is an important one, because these functions are defines the committee. So the first function is examine the annual audit reports of the Comptroller and Audit General of India, that is which is laid before the Parliament by the President. So mainly CAG submit three audit reports to the President, namely that is audit report on appropriation accounts, and the second one is audit report on the finance accounts, and the final one is audit report on public undertaking. So these are the three audit reports that submitted by CAG to the President. So public accounts committee examine these annual audit reports of the Comptroller and Audit General of India. That is the major function that is done by public accounts committee. So the next function is it keeps a check on the money spent on any service during a financial year. If the money is in excess of the amount granted by the Lok Sabha for that purpose, it goes on to its report, because every financial year they grant some amount for a purpose, for a service or something else. So if it is excess of the amount that is granted by the Lok Sabha, they can go for a report, because they already granted a specific amount for the purpose, and that is with a long discussion, and they are so calculated by the amount. So if it is goes or if it is excess of the amount that is granted by the Lok Sabha, they can go for a report. That is the other function that is done by Public Accounts Committee. And it also examine appropriation accounts and finance accounts of the general government, which is laid before Lok Sabha. And it also checks, or it also examines the appropriation accounts and finance account of the central government, that is laid before Lok Sabha. So these two accounts are laid before Lok Sabha by the central government. Public Accounts Committee examine these two accounts also, and it also scrutinizes the audit reports of CAG to satisfy itself that the money that has been disbursed was legally available for the applied service or purpose. So that is a basic thing we have to check it out, because the money we already granted for a service or a purpose that is legally disbursed. We have to know that is legally disbursed, or that is legally available there. So the second one is the second thing is the expenditure conforms to the authority that governs it. So the expenditure conforms to the authority that governs it. And the third one is every reappropriation has been made in accordance with the related rules. That is a kind of because reappropriations has been always made in accordance with the related rules, otherwise they cannot do that. So expenditure conforms to the authority that governs it. And the last one is, or the next one is, it examines the accounts of state corporations, trading concerns and manufacturing projects. And the audit reports of these bodies are made by the CAG, because these state corporation or trade concerns and manufacturing projects are public account, and these bodies audit reports are made by the CAG. So these all accounts are examined by the Public Accounts Committee. Mainly it have some limitations. Public Accounts Committee have lot of limitations. Broadly, it cannot intervene in the questions of a policy. It's just a committee, it's just a parliamentary financial committee. So it cannot question the policy. It can only examine the reports. It only allows to examine those reports, examine those annual reports that submitted by CAG, or it only can check those things after the policy implementation. So it can keep a tab on expenses only after they are incurred. It has no power to limit expenses. That is the thing we are already discussed. It has no power to limit expenses. It only have a right to right, or or it can only tab on the expenses only after they are incurred. It cannot intervene in matters of a day-to-day administration. That is an important one. It cannot intervene in matters of day-to-day administration. So any recommendation that the committee makes is only advisory. They can be ignored by the ministries, because Parliamentary Financial Committee is committee consisting 22 members, that is 15 from Rajya Sabha and 7 from Lok Sabha. So this committee can give any recommendation that is very advisory, that is so advising type, and they can be ignored by the ministries. It is not vested with the power of disallowance of expenditure by the departments. And being only an executive body, it can issue an order. Only the parliament can take final decision on its findings. So the Public Accounts Committee giving some recommendation, advices, and also giving some findings on themselves. So they can issue any order according to this. Only the parliament can take a final decision on their findings. That all are the limitations of a Public Accounts Committee. So the next committee is Estimates Committee. Public Accounts Committee is also established in 1921, and Estimates Committee is also established in 1921, that is post independence, 1950, on the recommendation of by the Finance Minister John Mathai. Finance Minister John Mathai gave the recommendation for the Estimates Committee on 1950. and it is established in 1921 mainly. So it consists 30 members. Previously we discussed that public accounts committee only consists 22 members, and here estimates committee consists 30 members. That members can be so this estimates committee consists 30 members. In this members, electing members by Lok Sabha with proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote, not a minister cannot be selected. So the members, these 30 members are selected by Lok Sabha with a proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. And it can be a minister, it cannot be a minister, he cannot be elected. So other members can be other members that is not a minister can be a member of a estimates committee. So the speaker appoints chairman from amongst the member, and it's invariably from the ruling party. So the speaker selecting the chairman from the ruling party, that is invariably, and the members are proportional represented, and the electing members by the Lok Sabha with a proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. That are the major things about the estimates committee. So estimates committee also has some functions to do. So it's mainly, it reports if the budget estimates affect economies, improvements in organization, efficiency and administrative reform consistent with the policy. So it reports if the budget estimates affect economics. If so the budget is also always presented in parliament. So if a budget is affecting an economy, if affecting our economy, so it can be a report, it can be submit a report on that. It can be provide, or it can be report on some improvements in organization and for the efficiency and administrative reform with the policy. So it can goes report on these matters, goes for a report on these matters. To bring efficiency and economy in governmental administration, it suggests alternative policies. That is an important function that is done by estimates committee. And it also examines whether the money is well laid out within the limits of a policy implied in the estimated thing. So it examines whether the money is well laid out within the limits of the policy that is already implied in the estimates. That is also a major function that is done by estimates committee. And it also it suggests the fourth in which the estimates are to be present to parliament. So these are all the functions that done by estimates committee. It also has some limitation because the power to examine the budget estimates is not an absolute one. It's not an absolute one. The committee can only examine the budget after it is voted upon and not before that. As like public accounts committee, it only have the right to examine the budget after it is voted upon and not before that. So if it can be examine before the budget presentation, they can be suggest some variations towards that, and it can be changed before the implementation. But only it can examine the budget after it is presented. So that is a major limitation that I have by estimates committee. And now the power of question to policies of the policies of the parliament has been conferred upon the committee. So all the recommendations made by the committees are advisory in nature and stand non-binding for the parliament. As just like the public accounts committee, it also playing an advisory role. That is an important thing. In a year, the committee does not examine the budgets of all the ministries departments. It chooses a few departments whose budget it wants to be examined. Therefore, budget estimates of all the ministries or departments are examined over a period of years and not in a year. So one financial year can be In a one financial year there can be a lot of programs, or there can be a lot of policy implementation. So when we discuss about the estimates committee, it can be examine all the budgets that is uh, done by the ministries and departments. It selects some few departments for a financial year, and it examines those things. It examines those departments who presented those budgets, and those budgets examines by the estimates committee. I think it's not clear, so I repeat this. That is, estimates committee doesn't examine the budgets of all the ministries or departments in a one financial year, because it have a lot of things to do. So it chooses a few departments whose budget that it wants to be examined, and therefore the budget estimates of all ministries can be or it can be examined over a period of years and not in 1 year. So it can be it is a long term, it's a long year, or it's a long project. So it lasts for long years. So that is the thing about the the estimates committee. And the last committee is committees on public undertaking. We already discussed the public accounts committee, estimates committee, and the last one is committees on public undertaking. It was introduced in 1964 on the recommendation of Krishna Menon Committee. So the committee came by on the recommendation of Krishna Menon Committee, and it also consists 22 members, that is 15 from Lok Sabha and 7 from Rajya Sabha. And Speaker appoints the members, and the member from Rajya Sabha is not chosen as a chairman. So the chairman can be from a Lok Sabha, because Rajya Sabha member cannot be a chairman. That's important thing. And the functions of a public accounts committee, because public accounts committee, we already discussed about the public accounts committee. So public accounts committee have some functions related to the analysis of report that is submitted by CAG. Here, committee on public undertaking, as its name suggests, it is a committee that dealing with the public sector undertakings. So it examines the reports and accounts of public sector undertaking, that is, we can abbreviate it as PSUs. Reports and accounts are examined by the committee on public undertaking. So Comptroller and Auditor General's reports on PSU is also taken by this committee. So CAG's reports is also on public sector undertakings taken by this committee. It only takes the reports that is under public sector. So that is the major point we have to be note down. The committee checks upon the credibility of the business of public sector undertaking. That's a major function it have to be do. That is, it examine the credibility of the business of public sector undertakings. It also checks the efficiency and autonomy of PSUs, and it performs those functions related to PSUs that are given by the Lok Sabha Speaker. So it also has some limitations, that is, there is a cap on the number of PSUs it can be examined reports of. The committee cannot take upon reports of more than 10-12 PSUs in a year. So when we discussed about the estimates committee, we already discussed that the one limitation or one function that estimates committee done by, that is, it only select some department's budget, and it examines for a year or for a number of years. Here, committee on public undertakings also have some cap on the number of PSUs. It only takes that reports in a year, that can be a 10-12 PSUs in a year. So it only examines the report. It has no role in deciding the functions of a PSU. So the committee is not concerned with any technical matters of PSU. as they are no technical experts as members of the committee. So this committee is not doesn't have any technical experts, so they are not discussing, or they are not concerned about the technical matters. That is a kind of big limitation uh, have by committee on public undertaking, because a public undertaking can be a lot of technical, have lot of technical things. So there should be some technical experts to be discuss, or to be examine those things. All the recommendation put forward by the committee are advisory, and ministers are not bounded by any of those. We already told you that even it is public accounts committee, estimates committee, it always play advisory role, it only gives recommendations. Here committee on public undertaking also have an advisory role, it only giving recommendation. So these all about the parliamentary financial committees. We already discussed about the three parliamentary financial committees, that is committee on public undertaking, and public accounts committee, and estimates committee. These are the three one. And if you have any doubt related to this topic, you can put it on the comment box, and I can give you more details about this. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.